Hi everyone, this is Marina with How I Got Here, and I have my friend here, Olga Benyaminov. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank
It's
you.
actually an honor.
Thank you.
Okay, so as you know, my channel is about inspiration, and when I heard your story, I had to contact you right away because you have gone through quite a lot, more than your average woman. So you've lived in Israel for 12 years, and while being in Israel for 12 years, you joined the forces for the IDF, correct?
Right. That's right.
Right. And then after that, you came to America and got married. So tell us a little bit about your experience of the IDF, what got you into it, how, and what was your emotions about it, your experience, and then work your way to America.
Will do. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Um, I was born in USSR, former Russia,
Mhm.
and we immigrated to Israel when I was 8. Of course, in Israel, you don't have a choice. You have to join the IDF.
Wow. Okay.
However, being a Bukharian Jew, and whoever is Bukharian knows that it's not so much acceptable for a girl to join because you spend nights, you don't come home every day, and this is not really the culture that the Bukharian Jew agree with. My mom was very, very supportive of
Oh, wow.
the the wish that I had to join the IDF. And when I first joined, yes, of course, we had some accommodation. I was home more than normal. I think I spent more time home than away from home, but I still had to stay over. So when I joined the IDF, before I actually joined, I was selected to be in a specific force in a secretive location,
Oh, wow.
which obviously I can't talk much about it, but it was
Grandma's house,
quite
got it.
quite some time, yes. And as I was selected at age 17, they would recruit us, call us for interviews, for meetings. And once I was actually accepted, we were joining the army just like everybody else, doing 30 days away from home, sleeping in tents. That was really the best experience of my life.
Really? How was the training itself?
That was difficult, but it was worth, the experience. They would wake you up at 5 a.m. You got to get up. You got to be prompt. It's teaching you so much that I think everybody should have that experience.
Right.
Teaches you promptness, responsibility, um, working in groups, working with teams. It was all for, one for everyone, and everybody's doing things to make sure that nobody stays behind. It was incredible. One of the best times of my life. And then I serviced for, at the time, 1 year and 9 months, almost 2 years. Today, women serve for 2 years and men serve for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
At the time, it was 1 year and 9 months.
Wow.
So there's a lot I can tell about the IDF. It was really, really the greatest time of my life. I think the things we've done, the different situations we were in,
Mhm.
incredible, just incredible.
I mean, I feel like generally speaking, I was always into it, and I'd probably be in it as well if I wasn't that situation or that, in Israel itself. But the one thing I love about it the best is the fact that you're trained on a whole different capacity of life itself. It's
Absolutely.
not like, hey, listen, I'll just snooze my alarm and get up later. No, you're on your feet by a certain time doing completely different
5
things.
a.m.
Right.
You get 6 hours of sleep at night. And it actually does give
It
you,
does work.
yes, yes, for sure.
I think everybody needs it. And even if it's not to go to war or something, but just like for some type of training so you could learn certain things about your, like be accountable for yourself on a whole other level. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, accountability, not just for yourself, but also for your teammates.
Yeah.
And that's extremely crucial and important.
Yeah.
Teamwork is one of the, I think, biggest skills that um, that I've learned.
I know, I hear you. In the real world, it's so hard. Like I used to work for a company and I used to literally drag my entire team so we can work. And it's not the same because it was a sales company.
Yeah,
So I can only imagine what you guys had to. But again, if you're trained the right way, if you have the right people on your side and you're all on the same level, it comes natural. At least it
comes
should.
that. True. It's true. It's absolutely correct.
How long has it been since you, after you came to America, that you actually got married? How was your
Um,
journey when it comes
pretty
to that?
pretty much fast, very fast. Again, in the Bukharian culture, you gotta get married early before you're too old, before you are, no longer needed.
I feel they have like a radar or something. Ah,
I,
somebody came
I,
from
I
Israel.
kind of, yes, yes, definitely. I had a whole line waiting, and I got married at the end of 2003. I came to
Mhm.
US in April of 2003, and I was married by December of 2003.
Wow, that was pretty quick. That's like, how
Yeah,
dare you think too much?
that's right. That's right. Well, people do things because sometimes it's the way it should be, the norm, the way we are taught to have it done. And I think, well, you shouldn't look back and regret on anything.
No, 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 no.
I
I
never
don't
do
think
that.
regret
I
is
never do that. I think everything in your life is an experience. You either learn from that experience and do better things, or you fall behind and do the same mistakes.
yeah, that's true.
So, um, and by 2003, I was actually in college as well. As soon as I arrived, I think I registered for the very first semester in trying to remember and timeline everything. But I think September 2003, I started college.
Went to college and you got married.
Yeah,
That's hard because my goal was to go to college, which I understand every woman has a different story. Like your story right now speaks for itself, right? But my goal was always to get through college and then get married because I knew I wasn't going to survive. It's just too hard. I don't know how you do
it
it.
is. It's very difficult. Well, one of the reasons I came to the US was to actually go to college, get good education.
Oh, okay.
Education in Israel is possible, but it's so much more difficult. And I want to go back to the fact that I am a Bukharian Jew, which is, comes with all of its additions. The
Responsibility.
only a lot of responsibility. The only three universities, state universities in Israel, were scattered throughout the country, and there was only one that is nearby my house. And that was the one that is so hard to get accepted because of the capacity.
Oh,
And
wow.
so when I got accepted in Beer Sheva is the other side of where I live. That meant to be dorm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for that my mom wasn't so flexible.
Oh, okay.
For that, she said, "No, that is out of the question. You're going to US." And here my grandparents and my uncle accepted me in their house. So I lived in their house when I just first arrived.
Hmm.
So the goal was to actually get the education, not to get married and have, well, obviously to get married one day, but not in
Right.
that specific order.
Right. Wow. Okay. So now I know the rest of the story.
To you?
Well, we talked a
Some of
little
it.
before. So,
Yeah.
okay. I know that, like you said, we both come from the same community, and I know everybody is expecting a woman to do certain things, to be a certain way, right? So if you out of line a little bit, then you feel I felt guilty when I was no longer like I no longer felt like marriage was for me. I felt like it was better for me to just go my separate ways because we were just both on such a we're not bad people, we're just not for
No.
each other. So
Right.
when you accept that concept, you kind of just like, it is what it is. What are you going to do about it? So you're just not for each other. So, I mean, to me, I'm not advertising divorce. I'm just advertising that if you are in a toxic relationship and there's nothing you could do about it, walk away. as peacefully as you can. So, how long was it for you until you had to find a different route, I guess?
It's very hard to actually go back and think about those things.
Mm.
We're talking about 20, almost 20 years ago, right?
Oh,
So it's kind of difficult to put yourself back in that position. But when I got married in 2003, obviously one of the very important things that were outlined for having this marriage and actually get married was that I
mhm.
have to go to school. I come from a very, very well educated family. My father is a chief GYN. My mother is a midwife and a nurse.
Mm.
My uncles from both sides, everybody in my family are very well educated. So one of the things that I've said is that yes, I can get married, but I got to get through school. I got to get education. And of course, they agreed and they said yes. And he was much, not much, but 7 years older than me. So he said, my with my age, I need a child. I said, fine, I'll get you a child. That's not an issue, but I just need to go to school. Thank God I was really, really blessed to have a child right away. My son Nathaniel is 17 now.
Oh, wow.
But when I had a child, I was home for 3 months and then I went straight back to school.
Oh, wow, that's hard.
That was hard. My ex-father-in-law really, really contributed a lot to this idea of me going to school. He was
Mm.
watching the child when he was 3 months when I went back to school.
Wow, lucky you.
Yeah, he was 3 months. I just had to. I knew I had a goal. I had things that I needed to complete, um, and it was important to me. This is where I would find myself. Actually, I went back to school. Um, it was hard. It was really hard with a little baby, with so much going on. Marriage, pretty much new. Everything is new. My English wasn't as good. That's for sure.
Oh, wow.
I did have a good base, but I don't think it was enough to actually do well. And yet, the first semester, I got a scholarship. I had GPA 4.0. Second semester, another scholarship, another 4.0. And
Nice.
that's when it all started. That's when my ex-husband said, "Oh, no, no, no. This is a little bit too much. The child is sick. You have to stay home. Oh, but you can't do this and you can't do that."
You felt intimidated.
I think so, yes. And of course, his mother as well. I think she felt very intimidated. She told me, "He's a shoemaker. What do you want to become, a doctor? When you're going to become a doctor, you're going to leave him." It's again, it's a cultural thing. I don't blame anyone. This is a cultural thing. It's a culture in which women have to be lower than the men itself. And yes, I took that strength, which I really didn't believe at the time that I have. There were other things, of course, going on. I don't want to go into all that,
Of course, yeah.
drama, but definitely took that strength and I said, no, I got to move on. I did move on. I continued my education. I actually graduated my bachelor's and master's within 3.5 years. I got both degrees within 3.5 years. By
Talk
2000,
about proper training, man.
I think yes, it's definitely teaching you a lot. Definitely teaching you a lot. I met at that time, and I met a wonderful man in 2006. I think we got separated from my first husband 2005, 2006. I met a wonderful man who was really there for me and for my child. He helped me through school a lot. He took the challenge of, raising a little someone else's baby just to help me graduate. And I have graduated in 2009. We got married with that man. And in 2010, I had my second blessing. I had my
Oh,
second child. I think parenthood is really a divine, divine gift. Just incredible gift. I have 3 kids. I love every single one of them. And So when I graduated in 2009, I immediately got a job at Queens College. I think I got my diploma September 1st, 2009. I had a job on September 1st, 2009.
Oh wow.
So since then, I'm still with Queens College. I absolutely love that place, love the faculty, love the job. I teach. I coordinated different courses for about 4 or 5 years.
Mm.
Um, I actually have a lab manual that I wrote, still sold.
Oh, excuse me.
It's a lot
That's
of
so
things
cool.
going on. A lot of things going on. Yes, very very nice. Progress that I'm happy to have. I actually never thought that teaching will be the route I'll take, and I enjoy that route. I do since 2014, I think. No, probably earlier, 2011. I started doing private tutoring.
Right. I was just gonna say you still do tutor, right?
I Yes, I do. I do private
Okay.
tutoring. Do group tutoring for all ages, all subjects, sciences, and I enjoy it. I love it. I love working with kids. I love seeing them succeed, helping them through this route of, teenagers. I get a lot of teenagers that
Mm.
that so interesting how we sometimes relate to them and we see them.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't think age makes a huge difference because everybody's still growing. There's so much that we can relate to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to women who have, I mean, again, we're not advertising divorce, but we are advertising women who are happy in what they're doing. I don't think anybody gets married to get a divorce. Everybody just hopes that it stays the way that it does. But it's
Absolutely.
very important to be happy with your decisions because I personally have no regrets because it taught me a lot. I became a lot stronger. Have accomplished a lot. Actually, yet yesterday I published my first children's book finally.
Oh, that's
So
incredible.
yeah, so that's a huge thing for me because I feel like if I was still in that same relationship, I don't think I would have ever accomplished it because my mind was too, it was all over the place. And then after that, I kind of like found myself, and what advice would you give to women who have been in your situation?
Well, first of all, I want to point out that unfortunately, I am again a single mother for the past 2 years. We had some marriage issues, we had some trust issues, situations that I really don't want to go into because it really brings a lot of pain after such a great long, relationship that we had. But I ended up raising my 3 year old all by myself. She was 6 months old when we had
Oh my God.
this very painful divorce and separation. But the strength I think that you get, and in my opinion, that strength came from my children. I
Hmm.
probably wouldn't be where I am if I wouldn't have my Nathaniel back then,
Hmm.
because this was, the actual goal to provide to him what I need to provide as a mother. Um, it's like you said, I wouldn't be where I am if I would have stayed in the first marriage. I wouldn't be
No,
where
I agree 100%. I know the
never.
children make us so much stronger. I honestly would not like my kids were like, you know how they say like you're in a tunnel, and until you see the light, you're still stuck. But I was like, no, my kids are my flashlights.
That's right.
Everything I did, everything, even I remember when I started working, every time I got a job in the city, my son would be hospitalized. I was like, that can't be a coincidence. And then I got another job and my son was hospitalized because he had like asthma like symptoms. Eventually, I was like in the hospital and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to take the job because personal issues. And my son literally felt better right after it. The next day, we went home, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna risk my son anymore. So I started looking for something local because I'm like, well, I have education, so I had to rewire my brain because I'm like, if my kids are guiding me for something, I know that I have to somehow find my path. So I went into like door to door salesperson, which kind of was like, wait, me? No, that's not gonna happen. But it taught me so much. And like you said, working in a team environment, overcoming that you kind of had to face a lot of your internal fears because you had to constantly present to a complete stranger. And that's kind of that dedication. And you get up. We used to get up super early. So as soon as I got that job, my son was not sick anymore, which
Hmm.
was like, okay, you just knew. And then everything that happened right after it, it was like one step after the other. One door, I'm telling you, I think I waited for that door until after I was already a single mom. But it finally got there and I never stopped. It's just, you can't explain it, but you just know.
Yeah. Well, the very first job I had was as a single mother, $7 an hour, and
Damn.
5 of that had to go to a babysitter. So I remember working a full day of 7 hours, bringing home $49
Wow.
and only keeping 10 because the rest had to go to the sitter. So yeah, it was difficult times, but when you have a goal and when you know that what you do is important to you, you can
Yeah.
do that. You can definitely do that.
Somehow it works out.
It eventually works out. There are things, and I want to bring God into this conversation because I
Absolutely.
think He has a plan for us that we don't even know. And I feel it all the time. I know it all the time. There's definitely a route that we are supposed to take. Things that happen to us happen because they're supposed to happen. I think I became much, much stronger after my first marriage ended because I had a goal. I had to prove that I'm not a loser. I had to prove
Right.
that, I can do it. And yes, there were moments that I just said to myself, I can't do it. I can't do it. I
Absolutely.
can't live of, these pennies that I'm making.
Hmm.
And like I said, the wonderful men that I met in my life, and this is why I forever will be grateful to him, regardless of whatever had happened between us. It's because he gave me that strength. He said, "You can do it. There
Oh,
is
wow.
nothing that you can't do. I'll watch your child. You go to school." And I went to school at night because I had to do graduate school, and those classes are either weekends or nights.
Right.
And we've done it. We've done it together. There's always someone there that will pull you out of this hole
Yes.
as long as
Absolutely.
you know how to put your hand and actually grab that hand that is
Hmm.
waiting for you. um so this is something that when I look back, I just tell myself, so grateful to God for giving me that opportunity. I don't think I would have been where I am if I would just given up, dwell over the situation and just say, "Oh, you know what? Let me just go back to a marriage because he can provide to me." They were from a very, very wealthy family. I probably wouldn't even have to work all my life just to, but this is not me. This is not me. I rather work, I rather provide. And I remember when I lost my first job providing, the rent and everything as a single mom, that's when I first started working as a tutor, probably in 2005, 2006, just like side job. But that was moments where you lose a job and you have to feed a child. It's not just you, it's not just taking care of yourself, it's taking care of another individual who's absolutely not at fault. He didn't want to come to this world. It's me bringing him to this world. So I have to make sure that he's comfortable.
Yeah.
There were a lot of challenges, but overcoming challenges is just the strength that you get when you absolutely firm on to your goal. And I was
Absolutely.
firm on my goal. I knew that education is the way to go. This is what I want, and I will do this.
And I feel like it's important. I don't think that it's a problem if a woman is getting education. I feel like maybe right now, or maybe it's toward like specific families, but I feel like generally speaking, I don't think it's a problem now for a woman to be educated or to have something. But again, every situation or every family is different. Like you said, it is cultural. And then when you're left in those situations, I feel like the strength that we get, you're still going to get to where you're supposed to get naturally because it's a culture, maybe because it's the rebellious side. you have to prove, you have to show them that, you know what, I'm not a failure. You
Right.
also, to my kids, like when my husband walked away, my kids were like, "Mommy, go get help." I said, "No. If God put us in this situation, we're gonna work through it." And somehow I just took, every time I didn't have a job, I just took that opportunity for myself to work with my children, and I would get a job a couple of months later because I knew I was gonna get it. I knew I didn't have another choice. And I just said
Right.
to myself, and I said to God, I was like, I don't know how to deal with this situation. Help me through it. That's it. I didn't call my dad for help. I didn't call my ex-husband. I didn't call it. I just like, I said, God, this is the situation. That's it. And then I go to my friend. My friend is like, oh, I can get this one for you. Go ahead, go work over here. Because my friends have so many connections. But like every single job, it was never hard for me to get a job. It was hard for me to keep a job because my kids were always with me. So when you don't have the proper support, because my family is in Brooklyn and his side, everybody's working, you kind of had to work around the schedule. It's not like everybody used to say, why can't you just get a normal job? I'm like, okay, but who's going to watch the kids? So,
Well, as you said, my family wasn't even here. My family was
right,
in Israel. They came here, I think, after the divorce, and even after a couple of years when I was a single mother. But this is the reason why I started tutoring,
right.
because I could work from home. And at first, I used to go to people's houses, but then when I got my clientele, I said, no, I'm working from home, because at the time I already had two kids.
Mm,
This was important for me. I can't leave my kids to be with a babysitter while I'm, shuffling myself around. I needed to make sure when they come from school, there's somebody waiting for them at
yes.
home. They were never left alone, just to kind of make sure that I'm there with them. And until today, I got a house a year ago, and my basement is my office. This is where I'm sitting now.
Nice.
I work from my office. My kids are upstairs. I'm very, very, reluctant to any fears, because I know they're safe. I have a camera that's watching all over what's
Nice.
going on there. Um, it's all about, I think, in my mind, it's all about my children. Everything I do is for my kids. It's not for myself. It's just for them, to provide to them what I think I need to provide them. They, like I
Absolutely.
said, they did not ask to be here. It was me bringing them to this world. So I
Yeah.
want to give them everything that I can give them,
Hmm.
to make this world more comfortable for them.
Right. Of course.
Our kids is really our biggest investment.
Yeah.
My biggest investment for sure.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I feel like after I found myself, I started investing more into my children because I was no longer in a toxic environment.
Yeah.
I was able to breathe differently.
Yeah.
Even if I'm still in the same location, I live a completely relaxed lifestyle. And my children are different. My children are, I've, I'm not gonna lie, I do need help with the tutor. So I might contact you. But that's because I mean, I'm very good with myself when it comes to studying, but I'm not good to teach others.
It's
So,
hard to teach others. I am an educator, and I try not to teach my children, because it creates a power struggle. It creates this hatred that you should avoid at all costs. You should
mhm,
never, in my opinion, you should never force your children to sit and study. You should never, you know, be their tutor. I'm not. I've done that mistake with my son when he was little, and it just creates this very big strain between, because it creates this power struggle.
my
Be-
son is like that. My daughter, she's good, but my son, he literally, Mom, I got it. Mom, I got it. Just go away. Mom, I got it. But then
Yeah,
as soon as he struggles, I try to help him out. He comes, and as soon as he feels like I'm teaching him something that he doesn't want or doesn't like, he goes right away. He rebels
yeah.
automatically, and I'm
It's
like,
not just
it's
your son. This is how it is. And I tell all the parents that I work with their kids, avoid that in all costs. Keep being a parent. Be their friend. Be their assistant. Be their guide. Don't be their teacher, because they will never listen. They'll listen to someone else.
yes.
um, you know, and this is really my biggest advice to all parents out there, single or not: be the friend of your child. You have to be their friend. Yes, know the boundaries. You are still the parent, but
Right,
I think this affection, this love, this trust that they develop throughout their growing ages, especially when they're teenagers,
right,
is what going to guide them into the correct path of this world.
right. No, I try not to push them, but certain things I feel like because he's a boy, he just prefers not to do, which is hard.
Could be,
So, yeah.
absolutely, could be.
But I'm so proud of you. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't think people understand the capacity of how hard a woman works when she becomes a mother. It doesn't matter married or single. Of course, when you're single, it's harder. But I feel like in my case, personally, like I said, I'm not advertising divorce, but I feel like I became a much better version of myself and I gave my kids a different lifestyle. Um, of course, I prefer to have their dad around, which he is, thank God, but just not the same way. But nonetheless, in my case, I became a much better person when I was not married. So I think it was also cultural. We just kind of happened to just throw ourselves into it because we had to. And all through our marriage, it was just like, what are we doing? It was just like, what's going on, you know? But you already have two kids, so it doesn't matter what we do moving forward. We already have kids,
right.
you know? So I mean, I guess the only advice I could just give to women is, like you said, don't give up, keep going, believe in yourself, believe that God will help you through it, right? Because, I mean,
Definitely believe in yourself. Definitely. Don't let anyone,
yeah,
put you down or let you let don't let them see the struggle that you're going through. Have that struggle in you, but have a goal. This is really what I think is most important. Have a goal. When you have a goal and you know where you want to be.
I'm so proud of women like us. I'm proud of women in general. Like, I have, like it again, it doesn't matter if you're divorced. I know women who have never been divorced and they're doing a great job with the families and the children and everything else, right? And I'm not jealous of those women because that's their life. I'm always supportive. I'm always, like I respect them for what they do, but I'm happy with who I am. And I know that everything had to happen the way that it did in order for us to become who we are today, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If I wouldn't go through the first divorce, I don't think I would have been where I am today. I don't think I would have had my education. If I would stay in that marriage, I would just drop school and do what I'm told. Be a housewife,
Yeah.
living in a beautiful big house, but being a housewife. And no, this is this is not where I want to be. So, it's what you want to be. Set a goal. And if that's where you
And
want
it's
to be,
it's okay. It's not just setting a
fine.
goal. It's okay to want to have something for yourself. I
Yeah.
feel like culturally and just generally, when I speak to women outside of our community, they all say the same thing. A woman has to be seen and not heard. A woman has to be a stay-at-home mom. God forbid, one of the women that I interviewed, she's like, Marina, I did as the first time that I finally left, that one day that I took off from my job, I invested into my own business. In one day, she opened up a business. She invested in her location. She's like, I did it for myself, and I wasn't allowed to do that. And she's a Christian woman. She's an African American woman. She said, I've been married twice. I've never dated anybody else. I went from one marriage, crossed the street basically, went into another marriage within a year. And she's like, at the end of the day, now I live for myself. I'm very happy. Now that, and she still wants to get married. She believes in marriage. She
Of
believes in,
course, I
but
want
she
to get
wants to
married.
have a
Absolutely.
normal relationship where she doesn't feel like she's being either downgraded or suppressed because the person that you live with has to be your partner in order to help them, help yourselves grow. I don't think anybody is allowed to or supposed to feel like I can tell you what to do because that's what I feel. That's wrong. You're suppressing your entire essence, your entire spiritual life in general. Like, I was suffocating in my marriage. And nothing, he didn't think he was doing anything wrong because he grew up a certain way. And if I wasn't as ambitious as I am, I'd probably just be like, okay, fine. Because everybody was like, quit your job and stay home. I'm like, I don't want to because I don't understand the concept. And there's nothing wrong with what they're saying. because that's how they live. It's just different category,
Right.
different type of life. You understand that, why not work? Like, why can't two people have normal, like, okay, I'm struggling right now, but why not? Give me some time. Success doesn't happen overnight.
No.
So I felt like I was judged because my job wasn't bringing millions, but God's not going to give you everything overnight either. It takes time.
You were judged because your job wasn't bringing millions. I was judged because they thought my job will bring millions.
Right. So it makes absolutely no sense. You're like, wait, let me find myself. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not, thank God, like, God forbid, I'm not a drug addict. I'm not like having different men left and right. I'm literally right here. I'm just trying to find myself. Give me some space. I know that's not what worked. And I'm like, at the end of the day, fine. I have no regrets because of I've tried it. It didn't work out. And here I am. So what happened? The world didn't stop turning. And
No.
just like my other friend that has been successful, now she is publishing her book. She is a professional singer. She has 3 kids from 2 different marriages. She's an incredible, again, the same situation. It's cultural. It's the society that expects a woman has to be beneath a man, and certain men are okay. You ask my father, he's like, I don't care if my mom makes more money. That's okay, cool, good for you. Like, you
No.
want men?
But in our culture, for the most part, that's not okay. And you
That's
know
not.
it. That's not okay. When a woman makes more, she's intimidating. She's not, you know, the woman in the pure definition of our culture.
But that's closed-minded. People
Uh,
have evolved.
Absolutely. But we understand that being a little bit more upscale in the head, right? In your understandings. But in our
Yeah,
culture, no, you gotta do your tasks as a woman first, as a mom. You're the one that's going to cook and clean and do the shopping. And if you have the time after that, then go work.
which you literally don't have time or
Right.
the energy.
The full-time job on its own.
It's unending. Yeah, it's
It's
24/7.
definitely not. Definitely not. And thank God, yes, we are lucky. I think you are also in the same boat. I cook, I clean, I do shopping, and I still able to work and provide for my children.
Yeah,
There's a work balance that we have to create. Marriage is difficult. It is not for everybody.
it's
Unfortunately, it's not. But when you have the right partner, it doesn't make it so difficult. All it takes is the understanding of both sides, and that comes from culture and from home. I think everything is happening for a reason. I am grateful to God, absolutely grateful for every single struggle I had in my life, for
mhm.
every single difficult moment that I went through, because that brought me to where I am today.
Yeah,
And just find the strength in you to go and overcome those challenges. There is a reason for every challenge you go through. There's something better waiting for you on the other side.
it's definitely possible. In case any woman is confused or lost, it's definitely possible. So you're an inspiration.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I promise you, I'm so proud of you. You're a role model to people like us. It doesn't matter if you're divorced. The way I look at you is the fact that you have overcome struggles and still found yourself and still made it better and raised your kids properly and still growing. It's the fact that you didn't give in to lose yourself and have anybody else control you. That's what I look at, because I always, like I said, I tell my kids, until you find yourself, you believe in yourself, don't just jump into a relationship, because if you're lost by yourself, it's so easy for somebody to take advantage of you.
Yeah. Believe in yourself. I think that's the key word. Believe in yourself.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Marina, for giving me that opportunity. And I
Absolutely.
want to wish you the biggest strength to continue in finding yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I
And the
appreciate it.
sky is the limit. We can do whatever it is that we want to do. Just put your
Abs-
mind onto it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Believe me,
Yeah.
that's an incredible gift. And yes, I'm so happy that I met you. I'm so happy that we talked.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
I
Thank you
love you,
very
girl.
much. Ah, thank you.
And we'll keep in touch.
We will.
Bye, love.
Bye. Thank you.